I was the only voice at the War Council who said do not go. I said it once. Then Arch Commander Peleth looked at me across the strategy table. That long, amber-lit slab of polished warstone aboard the flagship Ardent Claws, and the silence in the chamber was enough. No one seconded me. No one met my eyes. 43 senior officers of the Toreval Armada, and every one of them had the same expression. The flat, patient certainty of beings who have decided a thing is already done. That was 11 years ago. I sit in the same chair now, on the same bridge, but the Ardent Claws has not moved in 6 years. She is anchored at the exclusion line, 200,000 kilometers from the boundary the Galactic Compact drew after everything was over. She is a memorial vessel. There is a plaque on the hull. I asked them not to put my name on it. I will tell you what happened. I will not tell you more than once. Toreval Armada was the finest military formation the Compact had seen in 400 years. 412 warships, 11 dreadnoughts of the Archhammer class, 32 carrier platforms, the rest, destroyers, support vessels, transports carrying 60,000 ground soldiers. Filled a sensor screen from edge to edge when we held formation drill in the Vareth Passage. I watched that drill from my secondary command post. I remember thinking, we are too large to fail. That thought should have frightened me. It did not, at the time. That is the thing about arrogance. It wears the face of readiness. The Council's rationale had been straightforward, so Peleth framed it. Human space had been quiet for 11 decades. The old warnings, the prohibitions posted by the elder species, blank sectors in the Compact's navigational charts. The single-line notices in the military registry that said approach not advised. Historical grounds. Peleth called these the superstitions of frightened predecessors. The Toreval had never warred with humans. We had, he argued, no empirical basis for the prohibition, and there were resources in the outer belt of what the charts called the threshold region. Minerals, strategic metals, 3 habitable moons the Compact had left unclaimed out of an old, and Peleth insisted, irrational deference. I asked him what he thought had happened to the civilizations that posted those warnings. He said, they were weaker than us. I did not speak again in that chamber. The Armada crossed the outer marker on the 43rd day of the campaign season. I was not aboard the Ardent Claws at the crossing. I had recused myself from the command structure 2 days prior, citing medical grounds. That is what the record says. What the record does not say is that I stood at my quarters window and watched the fleet's drive bloom fade across the arc, and I counted the ships as they went. 412, I counted all of them. The first silence came on day C7. Teen contact from the advanced screen went unanswered. Not jammed, unanswered. There is a difference, and the signals staff knew it. Jamming has a signature, a wash, a grind, something active resisting the carrier wave. What they received was nothing. Clean carrier tone, then nothing. As if the ships were there and simply had stopped transmitting. All 14 advanced destroyers, in a window of 4 hours. Second silence came on, day 9. The carrier platforms, then the first dreadnought. I know this because a Compact border relay station 30 light minutes from the exclusion line was logging everything, and I was given the record afterward. I read it the way a physician reads a fatality report, not hoping it says something different, only needing to understand the exact order of the facts. The exact order was this: advanced screen gone on day 7, carrier platforms gone on day 9, first dreadnought the Clavarch day 10, then the rest of the dreadnoughts across a span of 6 hours on day 11, then silence. Total silence, 412 ships. The Force's last log entry for threshold region was a positional ping from the transport vessel Meridian Vane on day 12, 3rd hour. It was a standard automated ping, not a distress call, not a transmission, just the ship announcing its position, then nothing. Not even the automated pings after that. 412 ships and 60,000 soldiers, and the last thing the relay heard was a transport announcing its position. I have read that entry many times. The Meridian Vane, 3rd hour, day 12, position logged, then the void. The survivor arrived on day 29. 1 ship, a destroyer, the Quellan, running on emergency drive at a fraction of combat speed. We intercepted her 300,000 kilometers from the exclusion line. She was intact. No visible hull damage, all systems running. Life support nominal power core at 60%. That was perhaps the strangest part. We were prepared for wreckage. We were not prepared for a ship that looked entirely untouched. There were 4 crew aboard. The Quellen's complement was 68. Do not know where the other 64 went. No one ever told me, and the survivors, if that is the word, could not. They were alive and functional in the physiological sense. They breathed. They ate what we gave them. Their cognitive scans were within normal range, but they would not speak about what they had seen, not in any medium. We tried verbal testimony, written testimony, neural transcript. On each occasion, the 4 of them simply looked at the examiner and said nothing. Not nothing as in refusal. Nothing as in the words were not there. That part of language, the part that names what they had seen, had been taken out of them and not replaced. The lead examiner told me, in private, that the 4 survivors did not seem traumatized in the clinical sense. They were calm, attentive. They followed instructions without difficulty and showed normal emotional responsiveness to everything, except questions about the threshold region. On those questions they were simply absent, as if the question were addressed to someone who was no longer in the room. The compact closed the threshold region on day 40. The exclusion line was extended by 2 sectors in every direction. Charts, the actual navigational charts, not the old single-line line prohibitions, were redrawn in full. A new designation was added. Interdicted. Toreval event. Year 1 theme 204 of Compact Reckoning. No approach. 4 words where the Toreval Armada used to be. Toreval Compact itself did not survive the year. Not because humans came for us. They did not come. There was no retaliatory fleet. No ultimatum. No message of any kind from the threshold region. The dissolution was ours alone. Internal, political, total. An empire does not easily absorb the knowledge that its finest 400 ships went somewhere, and the void sent back 4 quiet survivors, and a destroyer that looked like it had never seen combat. There are things that empires can survive. Defeat, occupation, negotiation. There are things they cannot. We could not survive knowing and being given no explanation. The silence was the explanation, and we were not large enough to hold it. I kept my rank technically. There is no Toreval Armada to be a veteran of. The title stays in the registry, and the Ardent Clause stays here, at the line, because the Compact's successor council decided a crude memorial carried more weight than a marker buoy. I do not disagree with them. I spend a great deal of time on this bridge. I look at the charts, the new charts, the interdicted designation in the blank sectors, and the note that says Toreval event in plain registry text, as if what happened to 412 ships can be held in 2 words. Sometimes the younger officers from the relay stations come aboard. They ask me what I know. I tell them I know what the record says. I tell them about the advanced screen on day 7, and the transport's automated ping on day 12 and the 4 survivors who could not find the words. They always ask if the humans knew we were coming. I tell them, did not matter. They ask what I mean. I tell them to read the old prohibitions. Not the part that lists the dates and the designations. The part written in the margins, in the hand of whoever first drew the line. It says, they will answer whatever crosses. That is all they do. That is enough. I was the only voice that said do not go. I was not right about what would happen. I was only right that we should not find out.